We began this process by brainstorming what home meant to us as individuals and together. From this, we identified what we wanted to address as an issue in society regarding home. So, we chose to focus on homelessness, as approximately 106,000 people are experiencing homelessness in Australia. The key words identified that inspired our typeface design ideas was a focus of hope, rough situations that they find themselves in, and then trying to turn their lives around by making the best out of a bad situation. Symbols which we believe to represent these key ideas were hands and plants, symbolising hope and growth. Furthermore, this developed into creating a serif typeface that represented sharp, jagged edges, symbolising rough situations, contrasted with a soft, curved stem, symbolising that there is hope in all situations. And lastly, the disjointed and negative space between the two sides symbolised the good and bad coming together. However, after completing this ideation process, we came to the conclusion that we felt our representation of homelessness was hard to grasp in a font, and we felt as though we had no significance to this alarming social issue. The lack of knowledge and attachment to the issue meant we got stuck at this stage, and this really hindered our ability to move forward with this assignment.
Therefore, we decided to use our passion of interior design, our study area, to design a typeface which represents us as interior designers and what home means to us in this field. This process then began again with brainstorming home as interior designers, which focused on the very first part of initial designs in interior, the floor plans. Floor plans consist of line work, shape, size, walls, ceilings, and floors. From this we then studied the shape of plans as well as the detailed edges and boundaries. Furthermore, this developed into a serif typeface that represented rectangular line work, focusing on the outlines of plans, the serifs symbolising circulation within a plan, and the overlapping of lines illustrate the many layers it takes to design a detailed floor plan. Additionally, legibility was another key factor when designing this typeface. We took the approach that floor plans are always legible to an extent, but not always at first glance. A lot of the time, plans have to be studied in great detail to ensure nothing is missed out, otherwise this leads to complications in the building process. Our typeface displays this factor, particularly when the letters are written in a sentence. Overall, throughout the process, we took a fairly minimalist approach, as we began with a key feature being the floor plan and built off that, stripping everything down to line work. In terms of the type anatomy, we designed our ascender and descender to extend slightly above the cap height and slightly below the baseline. This was deliberately done to represent how floor plans are condensed and to the point. The lack of overhang in our typeface can be seen to exemplify the tight structured boundary of a floor plan.
The next stage was sizing the typeface into a 1,000 by 1,000 point Illustrator file. After sizing them up and determining the type anatomy heights, we began to place them into FontLab. However, we missed the crucial step of aligning the letters onto one another. This therefore encountered a lot of difficulties for us, as they weren't showing up or not in the correct place. This was then fixed, and then the transferring process began again. After we successfully placed the first couple of letters in, we started to play with the tracking and kerning, ensuring the space between the letters were equal and looked correct for the style of the typeface. We determined the spacing by ensuring that there was minimal amount of space between the letters as possible, confirming it was still legible to read. This was done due to floor plans being hard to read at first glance, but very legible as you continue to study and read it. After placing all our letters into FontLab, it was time to export it. The next step was to test out our exported typeface in a program for our promotional image. We were relieved and excited to see our typeface being used in various programs and decided to trial what it would look like in InDesign. For our promotional image, we decided to capture the concept behind our idea, which was inspired by floor plans, linking to the overall theme of home. We then decided to use various thicknesses of line work, creating a conceptual floor plan in the background of our typeface name. We believe that this promotional image really captures where our idea began and the target audience it is intended for.
The final step for this project was to create our promotional poster. Our poster features in the background line work and our chosen letters to accentuate our typeface. They have been enlarged and positioned in an abstract way to represent our primary focus of floor plans. We then enforce this focus further by selecting keywords which strengthen this. At first glance, this poster is an abstract view of a floor plan, with the line work being white contrasting against a black background. This inverts a typical floor plan. The name of the typeface, Floorless, Florless, plays on the combination of representing floor plans and the word flawless, Flawless. This was positioned top center of the poster to capture the viewer's attention. Furthermore, we also chose to display all of our typeface on a second poster, as we felt this was important from a promotional aspect. This second poster took an inverse approach to the first one in the fact that the type is black on a white background. This was done as it gives viewers an idea of what the text would look like on a standard white background. Overall, we found this experience very rewarding, but very complex at the same time. We now understand and have a greater appreciation for typefaces and the time that goes into making them. The best part of this assignment was creating the posters for our typeface and thinking about a concept behind our ideas, linking to home. Some of the more challenging parts of the assignment was the fiddliness of the typeface and adding it into FontLab. If we were to create a typeface again, it would be a much quicker process, having done it once, and is a unique skill we can carry forward in our design careers.